So here I am, trudging through a cornfield on a hot summer's day, with full camera equipment in hand. Now you may be wondering how I ended up here. Well, like many of my adventures, it all began in the back of a church parking lot. Except I wasn't here to repent. I was on my way to explore an abandoned children's home, a location containing more than 100 years of history. Once at the location, I found that getting inside the buildings would be as simple as walking through the front door. One of the perks of exploring in a rural area. Despite the remote setting, this place had an increased chance of getting caught. You see, most locations only require one entry and one exit, during which you are more likely to be seen. Once inside of the building, this risk is greatly reduced. However, this orphanage is made up of a collection of smaller buildings, presenting many more opportunities to be spotted by the outside world. With this in mind, I began my adventure at the back of the property. It was in this moment that I was caught off guard by a pitch-black entrance to the basement. I tried to delay the inevitable by taking a shot of this unremarkable bathroom. I even circled back to take some more pictures of this building. But eventually it was time. For an anticlimactic ending, as I quickly spotted daylight peeking through at the bottom of the steps. In fact, aside from a lifetime supply of styrofoam cups, this exterior entrance may have been the highlight of the basement. And after a few more shots, I was off to the next building. As I approached the front porch, I had a feeling that this stop would be in a much worse condition. Or maybe that was just due to the lack of an operational front door. As I stepped inside, I was greeted with a familiar whiff of asbestos-filled air. Or at least I would have, if not for my P100 respirator. If you haven't figured it out by now, these buildings once served as housing for the children. Although it seems this one may have also been used for administrative use. It would appear that records were kept for each child, tracking their behavioral, academic, and spiritual progression. Now, as much as I wanted to dig up some deep, dark history about this place, I couldn't find much out of the norm. Sure, in the early days this home did have its problems, strict rules, sanitary issues, poor medical treatment, but none of this was particularly notable for a foster home in the mid-20th century. Before moving on, I decided to freshen up on my piano skills. Fortunately for both of us, all of the strings were broken. I then carefully stepped over this door, decided I'd rather not take a walk through a swamp today, and began heading to the next building. I was greeted by Slenderman, however Bluey Mary did not make an appearance. I found the cracked paint on these walls to be rather soothing, although that may have just been the summer heat starting to get to me. I nearly mistook this mural for ordinary graffiti, but this was clearly painted before being abandoned. I then stumbled upon some handmade Christmas decorations, before discovering a wall of painted handprints. While I had no way of knowing how far these prints date back, it was cool to know that each handprint represented a child who had quite literally left their mark on this place. Now, as much as I'm sure you're sitting on the edge of your seat right now, waiting to see yet another abandoned housing unit, I'm going to try to keep this one short. Inside, I found a long-forgotten friendship bracelet, a practice room, or panic room depending on your imagination, and a window that made a better door than a window. And with that, I was off to the largest building on the property. After this, I would start making my way to the abandoned church that I'd seen on my way in. This human-sized doggy door only furthered my expectations for this stop, and I was not disappointed. Not only was this cafeteria equipped with a large kitchen, walk-in freezer, and huge pantry, but its arched ceilings made for some insane reverb. However, my claps were quickly drowned out by the noise of an approaching train. Now, it was time to check out the rest of this building. As much as I'd like to think there's someone out there who goes around making Shakespeare graffiti, it looks like these paintings were original. I then found a closet full of outdated technology before finding the computer lab, or at least what was left of it. I then made my way through the last section of the basement, which conveniently offered another way out through the kitchen. Before moving on, I decided to get a few more shots of the lunchroom. And that's when I saw it. A truck parked outside with a man facing away from me in the field. I briefly stopped to consider my options, before deciding to head to the far side of the property using this building as cover. I had no clue who this guy was, but he looked like he was supposed to be here, and that's someone I'd rather not meet right now. But in order to make it back to the road, I would need to cross his line of sight, which left me with only one option. Eventually the sea of corn parted to form a path leading straight out. Looks like exploring the church would have to wait until another day.